Without the theory of evolution, there is no secular humanism. While many scientists hold that evolution is a theory, humanists believe evolution is a fact. Evolution is a fact amply demonstrated by the fossil record and by contemporary molecular biology. Natural selection is a successful theory devised to explain the fact of evolution. Carl Sagan. Since God does not exist, and only nature does, then life must have risen from inorganic matter by natural, random means. Man is the result of a purposeless and natural process that did not have him in mind. He was not planned. He is a state of matter, a form of life, a sort of animal. George Gaylord Simpson. Secular humanists believe that 3 to 4 billion years ago, the first speck of life came into existence by a series of accidental combinations of chemicals and energy. A cell was eventually produced. From that first cell, other cells were created, eventually forming simple plants and animals. Over time, fish formed, which continued to evolve into amphibians, reptiles, mammals, and eventually primates. These primates are the ancestors of man. This entire evolutionary process took place through natural selection and mutation. No supernatural being created or guided the process. Charles Darwin's The Origin of Species Through Natural Selection, or The Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life, is an essential book for secular humanists. Darwin insisted that natural selection must take place over long periods of time. It acts solely by accumulating slight, successive, favorable variations. It can produce no great or sudden modification. It can act only by short and slow steps. Most secular humanists implicitly trust Darwin's explanation, although an increasing number are accepting Stephen Jay Gould's more recent and radical theory of punctuated equilibrium. This theory says that species remain the same for great periods of time, but they occasionally and rather abruptly evolve from one species into another.
Evolutionary theory faces problems in every area. It's pretty well known that it doesn't fit the fossil record. The fossil record does not show this pattern of slow, gradual, step-by-step change from one kind of thing into another. It shows variation within the type. Evolutionary naturalism, the Darwinian kind of evolution, doesn't fit the genetic evidence. When you try to test it, you find you can't make the big changes. You just produce birth defects when you induce mutations in organisms. It doesn't face the molecular evidence. Michael Behe has shown how molecular structures are irreducibly complex. You can't build them up by a blind, step-by-step process. So if you go from one area to another, you see it's nothing but problems and evasions, you see, to try to answer the problems. And you go to a scientist in one specialty and he'll say, I know it's all problems here, but after all, they've got it proved in all the other areas. See, so you go to the other areas and you find that it's just as bad or worse. But the worst problem is none of these things that I've mentioned. The worst problem is that living organisms are full of complex operating systems that need a program to direct their operations. Everybody knows there has to be something instructing those billion proteins where to go and what to do. And the evolutionary science has no idea how to construct such a program, no mechanism at all. That's the biggest problem.